we're coming off a phenomenal week last week. And an extraordinary day. I had a chance to recognize earlier in the call Michael Force. And by the way, we're going to be hearing from Michael on a leadership mastermind call. He's actually asked. He says, I want to get out there. I have some things I want to share. And this past week, I had the privilege to spend some quality time with Michael. And I want to just share a little of that conversation with you today. As you're coming off, you're flying high. I know I'm flying high. But I want you to have the proper perspective about what it takes to really get the results here. We've got some phenomenal tools and resources available to us at our fingertips. And it's about perspective. It's about perspective. Some of you, I shared this story with you while I was in Vegas last week. A lot of you know how passionate I am about my kids. And my daughter actually made the B team on the 8th grade basketball team here in the town where we live in South Texas. And, and this is a great example of perspective. And I want to share with you the good news. I want to share with you the great news. She called me and I found out that she scored 66% of the points in their game that they had this past Thursday while I was in Vegas. You realize my daughter, you know how proud I am? She scored 66% of the team's points. Now, there's another side to that. If you were to call it bad news, the bad news is that they got beat 30-3. But you know what? I choose to take the perspective that my daughter scored 2 of the 3 points. And we celebrated that when we got home. And we put together a game plan for what we can do, what she can do to make herself and her team better. And as we are here starting this week, I just want to share with you a little bit of the conversation with Michael Force. And I went up to him and I said, wow, it's been a great week for you. He says, it has been. He took a deep breath. And he says, with the birth of my daughter, so many of you all got to see her in person and on the screen. We had some great pictures of her. He says, I really worked hard for this to happen. And if there's one thing, he shared with me, he says, if there's one thing I want the people to understand, these results that I have been recognized for here today are a byproduct of the level of commitment. And he looked at me and says, JJ, I've worked really hard over the last 4 months. And today was just a chance for me to reap some of the rewards, but I know what it took. He says, I know there's probably a lot of people sitting here today and just think it just happens. And it doesn't just happen. I chose to make it happen, and I got busy. Michael got the first car, the first 7 Series BMW. You heard Jay talk about it late Thursday afternoon. Saw a great video. Leadership here is a commitment, folks, to ensuring that you have the same kind of results that Michael has. See, Michael won that car because he's committed to creating other leaders as well. It's about truly being a selfless servant, just much like Elizabeth Parkinson did with doing everything that she did for us to have a great event. The details. And then Aaron and Jay come up and give. It's all about giving. Jay talked about it at length. I want you to have the proper perspective. As you're coming back, you're flying high, and so am I. But today, put that into action. Put that into action. You all understand the resources that you have. It boils down to some very, very simple choices. Make some choices to embrace the work, it's probably going to be required for you to learn a new skill. Do that today. You heard from Mike Koenigs, you heard from Cherie, you heard from Karen, you heard all these people that were talking about possibilities. Now it's up to you and me together to take on what's required. There's an old saying out there, and I think I might, I thought about this saying when in my chat with Michael Force in the space of him winning the awards and his recognition. Champions aren't made in the ring. They're just recognized there. It's the daily activities, the choices, and the habits that you create. And in closing, I've never been more grateful to be a part of this community than I am today. I've received a lot of phenomenal comments, thoughts from each and every one of you. You may be on this line. This may be your very first call today. You may have just joined us since Thursday. Well, let me here to tell you, congratulations and welcome to the team. You're a part of something very, very special. Commit to being plugged in. Commit to making some different choices throughout the course of your day and hold yourself to it. I end the Friday morning call to action call with this comment. Grateful for a lot of things. Tools and resources. What I'm most grateful for today is to be associated with two men by the name of Aaron Parkinson and Jay Kubasek. Not for what they did, but more so this morning for how they did it, with the character and integrity that I'm proud to associate myself with. Fellas, thank you for a great week, and thank you for the possibilities that you created for each and every member here today moving forward. What a blessing it is. My fellow CCPRO members, do something really good and really positive for somebody today, but do it in the knowing there's no way they could ever repay you.